Hi, Beth. Thank you so much for taking out the time to share your experience of what it was like to be in our 8-week sales mastery course and working with us here at the Abundant Accountant. But before we dive in, can you share, Beth, with everyone where you're located in the country and what does your firm specialize in?
So I am located in Bloomfield Hills, Michigan, and I do specialize in taxes and advisory, CFO accounting services for small to medium-sized healthcare and medical, practice businesses.
Awesome. And so before you reached out to the Abundant Accountant, what was your biggest challenge you were having in your firm as it related to your sales process or lack of?
The biggest challenge was I didn't have any sales process. So I kind of like go by my instinct on like trying to get clients during tax season. Have existing referral network, but it's not consistent. So I didn't have consistent and leads coming in. I don't have any sales process at all. That's what I could say.
Close the leads. Yeah.
Close the
So,
leads. Mhm.
yeah. So without that process and just kind of winging it, what did you feel was the most frustrating thing for you?
It was very frustrating because I don't get usually the type of clients that I like or that I wanted to work. And that was very frustrating because you kind of like work with what you have and trying to see it later as if when you work with them that they will change. And then at the end, you feel like, oh, it never changed. It's the same client as I get in the beginning. So I said, no, stop hoping, stop wishing, really make a concrete decision on what you really need to get done. Is have a sales process. That's
Yeah.
why I found you.
Oh, I love it. I'm so glad you found me too, because you've put together a beautiful sales process and I know it's working like a charm. So when you
Hmm.
get a lead, you know exactly what to do with it and how to qualify and how to move through the process to get them to pay you and move forward. But what was the moment that you decided to do something about this in your firm, Beth? Like, there's a lot of firm owners out there that, might just take anything they get and they're all over the place. They have a bunch of AR. They just don't know how to convert the lead, right? What was the
Yeah.
moment you decided to do something about this in your firm where you said, I can no longer continue doing the way I've been doing it?
Yeah. The moment was the level of frustration came to that point.
Okay.
And then the frustration was being, I know I'm worth more. I know I can do more. I know I can service these clients, that I can provide a high value service. But
Yeah.
how do I communicate that? How do I put that into a process where it will just be smooth and not kind of like being a typical salesman saying, okay, this is what I can do, ABC. But
Yeah.
then there was no a concrete, like solid process to get them to, yeah, I agree, I need you, and therefore I can pay you more.
Yeah.
So that's the level of frustration come to that point. And
So
because it
you
was.
you had a volcano eruption of frustration.
Yes, that's why I was that really an ideal client of yours because I was already like at this peak and I said, I can't take this anymore. I
Yeah.
have to do something. So that was somewhere around October. And I said, oh my God, this is year end. And this is I'm looking at my books and stuff. The type of work I did for last year was pretty good enough, but I was worried about 2025, this
Yeah.
year. And I said, I have to make something different.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was the point. Level of frustration.
Good. No, thank you
Mhm.
for sharing that. And I'm sure that helps other firm owners also kind of gauge where their frustration is. Because if it's a volcanic eruption of frustration, then it's a good time to make a change. I'm curious though, what other things, Beth, did you try to do to fix your sales and conversion problem before you reached out to me for help? Because I know there's so many times that you've shared, I wish I would have done this before. I wish I would, and I typically hear that a lot after I've worked with a firm owner. But what things had you tried on your own, but none of it worked?
Yeah, I tried to sign up with some coaches that, will bring this and that, give you materials, but there were no follow-ups. There were no like accountability. And
Mhm.
it's more just like the material you're getting or buying. And after that, you're on your own.
Mm.
So that was one thing. And then I tried to do also DIY, do it yourself, things like for LinkedIn and Facebook, but there was no conversion or anything
Well,
because
that's marketing. That's
that's
not sales.
marketing.
Yeah.
That's not sales. But yeah, again, it's all like a DIY sales process. If you
Right.
say it, it's DIY. Like you get a phone call for a lead or someone inquiring your services, and then you spit out like a typical salesperson. What do I do? But there was no process of like communicating with them first, like asking about their pains, their challenges. And that's what I loved about your program because it's totally changed the whole thing. Yeah.
Yes. And thank you for sharing that because I'm sure that helps many people a lot understand. There's a lot of people that have tried to do it themselves or have invested in a lot of other coaches and programs. So I appreciate you sharing the differences. Would you mind sharing, Beth, how much money you invested in other programs before you found me? And I know that one of the things is it wasn't more information, and yes, we held you accountable, but could you speak a little bit more about what was so unique and different about us versus other programs, and also how much money you had spent and didn't get what you needed?
Yeah. Before the other programs are just like having you come in at the door first. It's and then give you the materials. Again, as I said earlier, it will just providing you materials, the steps and process, but there was no accountability. There was no like checking in and see, for every bit of support that you need. You're on your own after that. So maybe you will meet them once a week. And then I was really frustrating at one point. The guy said, "Oh, you can just Google your question," So that
And
was
how was the experience with us?
the experience with you, both Denise, Molly, and you, very, very authentic and very personal. And I think that's what everybody gets to feel that with you, with all the rest of
Yeah.
the CPAs or professionals in your program. They feel the authenticity of you really wanted to serve us, wanting to help us. So I feel that that's the total game changer for me. But
And
for
we
other,
review all your homework every week.
yes, and then the detailed review of the homework, that on the other end, it makes us do it because that's the accountability part. Because you're gonna just be like having a template while you're talking to the client. Each client has their own set of problems, and I'm glad to you have taken the time to review different situations, scenarios where you're upgrading a client for CFO services, or you're selling a tax plan, or you're doing special project for tax resolution. So I'm glad that is more specific. So your programs are too detailed oriented, and at the same time really technical in a way, because you're teaching us in this particular type of situation. You also have to account for where's the client at this point, and the pains and the problems, the challenges. The emphasis on that is really a big changer. So with the other programs that I had been before, it's probably easy 20,000 I spent. I mean, from 2018, 19, and after COVID, So it's really a lot. But then after that, just get the materials and you can remember what you have done in a program.
Well, I'm glad that I think you've paid off all those investments and more. But I'm curious because you spent $20,000 on other programs. You tried to do it yourself in the past. And then you're like, okay, how is this going to be different than anything else? Could you share with myself and other firm owners the decision-making process for you on how you decided to move forward with us, with the investment, with the time, considering you just spent $20,000 in your past and nothing worked? What were your initial objections?
So obviously my initial objections was before was the timing. And then you're always, us as obviously a solo CPA practice, you always think, I don't have the time for that because I do everything.
Right.
But we forget that the sales process is the most important process, because we will not have any work or new clients or ideal clients without this.
Yeah.
And that's a big decision, the main factor for number one, aside from obviously my frustration that I mentioned earlier. So that's the first thing. That's the first thing. And the second thing is, will I have the brain capacity to kind of like get into this, or will probably just hire a specific person to do this
Mhm.
for me? And I said, no, we need to learn this. So that's the second, kind of like objection. I'm like leaning into outsourcing it, or doing it by myself. So I learn it, on my own.
And so
Second.
what have been some of your biggest successes since you learned it on your own? How much has things changed in your firm, Beth?
Yeah, the changes are big time. Like the shift on the mindset. Number one is the value exercise. It makes you really feel like, yeah, I shouldn't be charging $300 for the tax return. It should be at least 1,000 or eight
Is that
hundred,
your
seven.
minimum now?
Yeah,
Good
went
job.
up
Yep.
there. And then the value exercise. The second is
But what about your total overall revenue growth in the 8 weeks?
the first 8 weeks, the first month, remember last November, December was like my revenue went up by a total of 40,000 because of the three main items I sold. I told you the
Yeah.
tax plan, the cleanup, and the CFO conversion. Those are only three clients, were like 40,000.
And how
So
much of an increase was it from maybe what you would have charged in the past?
that's actually the total increase, the
Okay.
40,000. Yeah, the 40,000 revenue within November, December, and then
Mhm.
part overflow in January. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I love it. Well, congrats, Beth, and I can't wait to see what else comes from implementing the process and just continuing to make all these tweaks and changes. What words of wisdom, Beth, would you share with another firm owner who's really serious about taking their firm to the next level that maybe you wish you would have heard in one of these videos before you spoke to us?
I would say don't second guess it, don't procrastinate, just do it.
Yeah.
And it will pay for itself abundantly. I can say 5 times, 10 times.
Yes.
It is amazing. It's an amazing program, and I'm so grateful for you and Denise and Molly. And then, with the help of everyone, obviously reviewing our homework, helping us and supporting us.
Oh,
So
I'm
it's
so happy for you. Yeah. Is there anything you would tell your younger self, Beth? The one maybe like, 3 to 6 months ago? Anything you would want to say to your younger self that you wish you would have known about the sales process? I know you shared how it's the most important part in your firm, and I truly believe that because the top line revenue on our P&L dictates everything, what you can do to pay a team, how you can delegate more, how to make payroll, how to service your clients so you don't have any AR. But is there anything you would tell your younger self?
Yeah, I could, what thing I would have said to myself 6 months ago is I should not have second guessed it, the timing of, is this the right time? Because that was my biggest challenge that time, making that decision. I should have made a decision in June rather than November, so that was the
Yeah,
main
what did
thing.
those, 5 months cost you?
It had cost a lot. I could have probably get another 50,000 before that,
Right?
because yeah. So there is no like timing of
There's never a
before.
good time,
Yes, true. That's very true. 100%. I agree with you on that.
right? There's
Just
never.
do it, especially when your gut is telling you and your intuition is telling you,
Mm-hmm.
just do it. That's what I would advise the CPAs out there or any professionals working with you.
Yes. Any
Yeah.
CPA, accounting, tax, bookkeeping firm.
Professionals, yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Beth, so much for taking out the time to share your experience of what it's like working with us here at the Abundant Accountant and being in our 8-week sales mastery course. It's been an honor to watch your growth and serve you, and I can't wait to continue this with you. So,
Thank you so much. You're right.